hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Curious Realms continuing coverage of PsiGames 2025 right here in Charlottesville, Virginia. We have the great pleasure of being joined by Nicola Farmer. She is the author of Seeing More Than Their Eyes Can See, Discovering Childhood Potential. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the amazing time here today during an awesomely busy inaugural year of PsiGames. I'm so excited to see this awesome event just completely packed to the gills. How was your presentation?
Oh, it was really good. Had a great audience, and it was exciting to share the work that I've been developing, and not just with the kids, but with the basics of it was that we needed to retrain egos.
Sure.
And that's what the basis of the workshop was.
You know, it's interesting. We've had that conversation a few times on the show just during this event. I was just having it at the commenter table a few minutes ago. The idea of it's hard for us to manifest. It's hard for us to remote view or do any of this if we let our ego get in the way.
Yeah.
You know, so let's start kind of breaking that down. How do we begin to recognize our ego when it pops up?
Well, the ego is going to present itself through a negative experience. So I was telling the people in the group that that voice in your head, that inner voice, if you're contemplating asking yourself a question and you need an answer, the inner voice is going to come from two places. It's either going to come from your higher self or from your ego. And if it's the ego responding, it will come back with a question. It will come back normally it'll start with what if. So what if they don't like you? What if the plane crashes? And so that what if question mark at the end of the sentence is the flag, is the red flag. However, if you ask yourself a question, so if I was to ask about coming here to the States, I mean, I had a 20-hour journey. And my ego came back with, well, what if you go all that way and they don't like you, or nobody turns up to your presentation? But my higher self would say, yes, absolutely, you're going to experience A, B, and C. Or absolutely, no, this isn't for you. It doesn't need a because.
Okay.
Or it may not be any voice at all because I need to make that decision on a human level.
Okay.
So the difference being is one's going to be negative, creating fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, and the other one's going to be a positive, even if it's a no.
Yeah, and the idea that it's something that we talk about on the show regularly, the idea that we influence a lot of the world around us simply due to our filters of experience and the way that we have polished those through our life. The example I give, my brother and I grew up in the same house. You asked both of us what Christmas of '89 was like. We're going to give you two slightly different answers because we have different life experiences. We view things through different filters of reality and through different filters of the ego and how we see ourselves interacting with other people.
Yeah, but when we're born, the ego is dormant. And there has to be an external trigger that wakes our own ego up. I use the scenario of a spider. If you're afraid of spiders, you weren't born like that, unless, of course, we're going to the realms of previous lives.
Sure.
But you weren't born afraid of spiders. So you witness somebody else jumping on a chair and screaming.
Sure.
Trigger.
Yeah.
So the external source of the trigger is the person who is having the experience. Then the spider becomes the trigger. So it's like a self-perpetuating cycle of fear, worry, doubt, anxiety.
Yeah.
But to retrain the ego right now is so important because, I'm psychic, I'm clairvoyant and all those things. And I see people's egos and I see them and they're exhausted.
Yeah. Yes.
Because this world is filled with fear.
Yeah.
The ego was originally created in the brainstem, the reptilian part of the brain, to navigate through the dark times.
Exactly. And that's something that I do a lot of work in binaural music, things like that. And that's something that I try to explain to people all the time is, our brains are pattern machines.
Yep.
They want a pattern. It helps us. We go autonomically through most of our day.
Yeah.
We react to things unless we're thinking about it.
But that's why we have an autonomic nervous system.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, and the idea that we learn more, sadly, through negative reinforcement than positive reinforcement because of millennia of, fire's hot.
Indoctrination.
You learn more from burning yourself on a fire than cooking and learning that fire will cook an egg and save you.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
we really do have to learn to rewire the way that we think about things.
Yeah.
And how do we begin that process of rewiring the mind to not dwell on the negative? I'm not saying don't think about the negative, because it's going to happen, but you've got to kind of treat it like a passing train. You're not going to drive through the train. You got to wait till the train passes.
Yeah. But you see, I mean, before we look at how we do it, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
What's not okay is allowing that to then define you or control your life.
Yeah.
So we're always going to experience challenges. There's always going to be an experience where we have a negative feeling, emotion, or experience. So we have to identify what our known triggers are or our known negative traits.
Okay.
Judgment, self-loathing, lack of self-confidence, all sorts of things. We have to be able to identify them. And then we need to be able to say, well, if I wasn't feeling judged or being judgmental, how would I feel?
Yeah.
It could be free. It could be happy. And it's identifying the positives and how you would rather feel in order to start the ball rolling. That each day we can have a vision broken down into one single word of how my world is going to be today. Today my world could be a world of abundance.
Yeah.
Today my world could be a freedom. So when we identify how we want to live our lives, if we were in the perfect bubble, we then have to look at how we bridge the gap between the ego and what I call the spirit. So the ego is connected into the sympathetic nervous system and the spirit is the parasympathetic nervous system. And bridging that gap between the two gives us a fair chance in retraining the ego in order to deal with situations, challenges in a more positive way. And the way we do that is by taking a double breath, just 2 breaths in. That instantly triggers the vagus nerve. But then as we take that breath in, we take in initially the word surrender. It's not about us surrendering, it's about the ego surrendering.
Yeah.
And that double breath of the essence of surrender goes straight to the brainstem, and it's like giving the ego a pacifier.
Interesting. And, you've brought up a couple things that I see regularly, and a lot of that, one of the things we talk about regularly on the show is consent.
Yeah.
And the idea of giving your consent is giving your power. When you consent into worrying about something that you literally have zero and I am an anxiety sufferer.
Oh, right.
Like I had to go to panic therapy for a little while, things like that.
Yeah.
And I learned like the double breath. I learned that from my panic doctor.
That's
the
right.
idea of activate that part of your system, but it's learning to be in touch with yourself, learning to realize when those things are happening, and being able to realize that, like you're saying, it's okay to feel it, recognize it, give it its space, give it its credence.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah. It's a release.
But don't let it control you.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Or define you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, moving this into the realm of course, bringing up the next generation, especially the next generation of mediums, psychics, things like that.
Yep.
That is a big point. The idea of how do we begin? Because once again, until programmed in, the ego isn't there with the child. So if you can catch them early, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
How much of the training do you have to do with parents before because it's one of those, as somebody who spent time in a classroom, it's great to send your kid to school, but if you aren't following the same rules at home that teacher follows in the classroom, there's a fight in your kid's brain as to who they're supposed to listen to.
Yeah. And loyalties are normally with the parents.
Absolutely, exactly. So,
well, with the ICU program, the academy that I set up, and we take the children through a 12-session program, just 1 hour each session. We take the children through a process of becoming left right brain coherent and brain and heart coherent.
Okay.
Now, one of the biggest challenges in taking a kid through the program is actually the parents.
Yeah.
And the parents have such a huge expectation of their children to perform, to achieve, to be successful, or most parents do. So we have to educate the parents before the children do the program.
Yep.
In order for them to comply with what we need them to do with their kids at home. 9 times out of 10, they don't do it.
Yeah.
So there is a massive need to educate parents on how their children need to be nurtured spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're taken care of most of the time emotionally, mentally, educationally, but there's a massive gap in bringing them up with mindfulness and spirituality.
And you bring up a beautiful word, mindfulness. It is a literal buzzword now. And I was just talking with someone inside about how manifestation is the same way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see both of these kind of burgeoning on the scene at the same time. Yep. And the idea of mindfulness is, the way I describe it is frequency is light, sound, and thought form.
Yeah.
So it's not just what are you thinking, but how often are you thinking it?
Yeah. But we need to take it to a whole new level.
Okay.
Because mindfulness is becoming more mainstream, but what we need to take it to is heartfeltness.
Yes. Yeah. And I taught spirituality for years, teaching confirmation, things like that. And that was one of the things I always told my students was that we have to learn to rewire our brain when we speak and when we listen. Yeah. And your heart, your ears and your mouth need to be wired through your heart before they go to your brain. Yeah. Before anything comes out, pass it through your heart. If you said that to you in this situation, how would you feel?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
And marrying that with the idea of stop having the conversation on the way to the table.
Yeah.
Like, it happens all the time. You'll be on the way to dinner with somebody or on the way to a business meeting, and you're literally having that conversation before you ever get there, laying mortar and brick for the wall.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But that's interesting what you say, because I created something. You've heard of Maslow's triangle of hierarchy.
Absolutely.
So I created a triangle of spiritology.
Oh, beautiful.
And it takes you all the way up to unity consciousness. But it's got foundations. And the absolute base of the foundations is ego. Because we have to survive. Yeah. And in the presentation that I did, I had a deck of cards that are every subject on the spiritology triangle. And I got them to build a house of cards. But the bottom row was the ego. Didn't quite come out how I expected it to, but they still built a house of cards. And I said to them, now take one of the ego cards away, partial collapse. Take another one, another partial collapse. Take the third one away, complete collapse. Yeah. And what people don't realise is that regardless of whether we're child, adult, elderly, whatever we are, we have to be able to work with those foundations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because as someone who studied psychology and abnormal psychology, it is one of those, like, the ego is absolutely necessary. Yeah. It's necessary for us.
Anybody who says get rid of your ego, you can't.
No, you can't get rid of it. What you can do is retrain it. Yep. You can refocus it. Yep. You can teach it to look at silver linings instead of the cloud. Yeah. All kinds of things.
But I've seen so many people who, when they've retrained their ego takes a huge sigh of relief. Yeah. It's like, okay, it's over. Yeah. And now it can assume its original role is survival and navigation.
Yeah. And last year, I went on an ayahuasca journey. Yeah. And part of that was getting off my daily medications for anxiety. And I was very lovingly handled by my ayahuasquera. He was amazing. Yeah. He literally called me 2-3 times a week. Let's talk. How's it going? How are you doing? Brilliant. For a month while I was on the road for work. Wow. Professionally for 3 weeks straight, off my meds.
Amazing.
And while we were in ceremony, it was just the two of us, it ended up being. And he's playing the songs, and as a musician and audio engineer, I kept wanting to tell him, a lot of the prayers are about release of ego.
Yeah.
Let's be together.
Yeah.
I saw no clockwork elves. I had nothing like that. What I experienced was every time I wanted to tell him something, I would try to sit up, and I literally felt a hand
Push you
on
back.
my chest, push me down, and a voice go, shh,
Yeah.
numerous times
Yeah.
throughout the night.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to me. And since then, and the next morning, it was very clarity of like, oh, no. He's supposed to be losing his ego at this moment, too. You can't be cajoling him about how awesome he is on the guitar.
Yeah.
And that, of course, did not occur to me in that moment. So
Yeah.
the idea of being able to lose that, being able to realize that we can also help other people lose their ego by how we talk with them, how we approach a situation.
Yeah. And if we take this all the way back to the parents, like you originally asked, we're not only trying to prevent the children's egos becoming controlling, but we're also trying to manage the parents' egos.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with that in mind, we got about 10 minutes left or so. Let's switch to how do we begin lessons with the children? Once we've got parents at least on some kind of page or at least some rules they should follow, how do we begin this process with children? Because there is that concept out there now of trauma and PTSD being passed mitochondrially through DNA, things like that. So there may even be some traumas that they're dealing with or triggers that they're dealing with that they haven't even experienced in their life.
Exactly.
They were experienced by grandpa.
Yeah, generational traumas.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the program, the ICU program, the fundamental rule is that the children must want to do it.
Beautiful.
They choose it.
Yeah.
I actually had a 5-year-old interview me on the phone because he found me on the internet and he wanted to know I was the right person for him. That's
beautiful.
That's fabulous.
Beautiful. He is the right kid for that program.
Exactly. So they have to be between the ages of 6 and 12.
Okay.
And they come for 12 one-hour sessions. And as a teacher, and as I train teachers, the basics of the teacher is that you approach every session as if it's a new one.
That's right.
And then you make it fun. And the kids go through an activation process when they first arrive. It takes 3 minutes. It's very quick. And then they go through the rest of the session encouraging them to see. Now, not every kid sees.
Yeah.
Every kid goes through a life-changing experience. And I say to the teachers all the time, it's your responsibility to keep the session flowing, but it's your responsibility to keep it upbeat as well. And so when we take them through the session, we're encouraging them to see colours, etc., etc. But we never, ever ask them a question.
Interesting.
So if you're saying to them, what colour can you see on the page? We actually say, tell me a colour you can see.
Okay.
With an essence of positive affirmation in our voices.
Sure.
And even if they're wrong, we still praise them.
Yeah.
And we praise them because they're doing their best.
That's right. That's right.
So no saying no to them,
Yep.
constant praise and never asking them a question.
Yeah.
And when you have a child with you for a whole hour, it's one of the most precious hours of their life because they have your undivided heart,
That's right.
they have your undivided attention, and they are being told that, not in the actual words, but they're being told that they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
That in itself raises the confidence, and as their confidence grows, then they will achieve what they need to achieve.
Yeah.
When I train the teachers, I say to them, no expectation, no outcome.
That's right.
Okay, just go with the child's soul path.
That is beautiful.
But we have seen miracles, we've seen amazing things happen,
Yeah.
and the child's never seen a colour on the page. But for a teacher, it can be soul destroying because you're on session 12 and you're still saying, tell me a colour, show me a colour, point to a colour. But the teachers have to recognise that this is about giving the child your time and making them feel $1 million.
Well, and empowering them.
Totally.
And really, there's a beautiful step in there, and that is the fact of the only failure is not trying.
Well, we don't use the word try. We say
Sure.
the only failure is not giving it your best.
There you go. Yeah, and that's just it. Like
Yeah.
my son took basketball camp this
Yeah.
year, and I was trying to instill in him that missing a shot is not a failure. Missing a shot is your chance to learn why you missed the shot. You know, and
Everything's an opportunity.
Even in remote viewing, in my presentation, that's one of the things I bring up is that your misses are one of the most important things. That's where you,
Exactly.
if you hit everything all the time, where do you grow?
Yeah.
Where do you grow?
No chance.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
chance at all. I mean, I've had many challenges in my life, but I look at them and say to them, what did I learn?
That's it. That's it.
What has it taught me? What's going to take me to the next level?
You wouldn't be who you are without your failures.
Yeah. And I was just having a conversation with some friends at lunch, and I said to them, when I was going through my own development, and I don't mean this to sound big-headed, but I wish I'd had a me.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, if I'd had a me, I wouldn't be me now.
Yep.
Because I've learned how to avoid the obstacles, how to climb out of the holes, and all of those things.
Yeah, to see the flag at a distance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I can guide others through that to say, well, this is what my experience is.
That's right.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're talking children, life lessons, things like that.
That's right.
The one thing I used to teach my junior high and high school students all the time was the concept of the kite string. It's like at some point in your life, it may be positive, it may be negative. You will walk into the room and you will feel a kite string tug at the back of your belly button. Perk up and pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Perk up and pay attention. It might be positive, it might be negative. It just means you need to listen
Exactly.
right now.
Wake up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that moment of realization and
absolutely.
self-worth.
And they are golden opportunities.
They are. Exactly.
And so many people walk around with either blinkers or their eyes shut.
Yep.
And they don't see the value of what's in that opportunity.
Yeah.
And like teaching the kids, it's not that we're waking them up. We're helping them to stay aligned with all of those things so that when they go through the dysfunctional education systems, forgive me.
Yeah, no, ain't no forgiveness needed.
They can navigate all of those pitfalls with grace and ease.
Yeah.
Instead of falling in them and having to climb up.
Well, like you're saying, making sure that those things, you understand they make you who you are, but they do not define you. A failure doesn't define you. It helps make you a stronger person. It adds to the foundation.
Embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. I loved reading and thumbing through your book at the bookstore. Let everybody know where they can go to find out more if they have kids that they want to get through the program, if they have a kid in their family or a friend's kid.
Or want to become a teacher.
Or want to become a teacher, How can they get involved? How can they find out more about everything that you're doing?
They can go to the ICU Academy website. So that's the letters ICU, academy.co.uk.
Okay.
All the information's on there. And the book can be found on the website, and also it's worldwide on Amazon.
Okay.
So, people can buy it wherever they like. The book was written in a month.
Oh, wow.
And published in a few days.
Wow.
So it was like green light, go, go, go,
True
go.
flow.
Yeah.
True flow.
Yeah. And so, the website's full of information. And if they can't find what they're looking for, then I have a secretary, or they can contact me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time on this very, very busy event.
Thank you.
I greatly appreciate the time and greatly appreciate you making the trip all the way from across the pond to come to this inaugural year.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Absolutely. Well,
lovely to meet you.
Same here, Nicola. While you are online checking out everything from Nicola Farmer, make sure to stop on by Curious Realm. CuriousRealm.com is where you can like, follow, subscribe. That is where you can find all the YouTube channels of our guests, as well as our events page, which has all of the YouTube playlists from the events that we cover, like the amazing PsiGames right here. Stay tuned through this quick commercial break. We'll be right back with our continuing coverage of PsiGames 2025 right here in Charlottesville, Virginia, right after this.
The key to good science is good research. At the heart of good research is a good data set. With the field observation and encounter log from Curious Research, you can easily keep track of your investigative information all in one place. making it easier to review cases and readily see comparisons and contrasts between them. Whether out in the woods squatching, in a back room gathering EVPs, or using high-tech gear to track UFO, UAP activity, this easy-to-carry, pocket-sized scientific data log is the perfect companion for any field researcher. You can find your copy of the Curious Research Field Observation and Encounter Log at Amazon.com or visit the official Curious Realm store at curiousrealm.com/store to reserve your copy for yourself, your family, or a mind that you want to open. That website again is curiousrealm.com/store.